So, you want to learn how to contribute to open source software or be a better contributor? Great. My name is Glenn Jarvis, and I'm a software programmer. I've worked for big companies such as IBM, Informix, UC Berkeley, and Sprint, and I've worked for small Silicon Valley startups that you probably haven't heard of. But I'm also an open source software developer, and I've been lucky enough to do it for full time for small periods of time. I'm not perfect. In fact, I'm not the best programmer out there. But I'm good enough and a solid programmer, and I can break things down step by step. I can help you understand standard practices so that you can work well on an open source team. The first half of this course is programming language agnostic. For example, I'll take you through the Git source control management system. I'll help you understand the data structure that Git uses. And I'll help you understand how to untangle things so that you can get out of something that many so affectionately call Git hell. More importantly, I'll teach you standard practices such as Git flow that'll help you avoid getting into this difficult situation in the first place. This course has 7 modules. If you already have the skills for a module, then you can skip it. If you find some prerequisites are mentioned that you don't yet have, don't worry, as you can add those prerequisites to your flow. I try to make this as choose your own learning as I can. I also try to make it as smooth as I can to transition between these modules. Ideally, these modules can stand on their own and be self-contained enough that they're, well, modular. A module should be able to be used on several courses seamlessly. I try to customize examples for you as much as possible. That means if you're a Linux user, I try to make demos that are Linux-based. If you're a Windows user, I try to make demos for Windows. This is a small feat. It means that I need to record the same demo many times for each of your environments. For an operating system, it's fairly easy to detect what you're using to watch this video, so that I can make it fairly seamless. But there are some things that I just can't know without asking. For example, just starting off, I don't know your programming language or your programming experience. You may be a complete beginner who hasn't programmed at all. Don't worry, this course is still for you, but you will need to take some more lessons for a module. Or you may be an advanced programmer but have never contributed to open source. So there will be a time that I need to ask for your programming experience. That information will be stored in your user profile that you can access and change. But I don't need to ask that for now. The first few modules in this course are language agnostic. The 7 modules in this course are basic command line, using an editor, source control and collaboration, documentation, programming, unit tests, and functional tests. By the time we get to the middle of this course, we'll see that some things become more language specialized. For example, many programmers prefer the precise structure of restructured text, so that documentation is dry and derivative documents like PDFs and ebooks can be made from the same documentation source. And for the final 3 modules, the programming language becomes important. You don't have to learn to program to be a strong open source contributor. There are a lot of very successful contributors who focus solely on documentation, for example. Before we get too far, however, I do need to ask you one question. As part of my lean startup practice, I've done many learner interviews, and it appears that my learners fall into 2 main camps. The first is the learner who typically is employed and looking for a solution fairly quickly. For example, for a learner that I interviewed in my course on Amazon Lambda, that learner wanted to get the relevant information quickly because her project was due by Friday and she needed to learn what didn't know quickly and finish by Thursday. And in contrast, I had another camp of learners. An example of this learner was someone who was studying for a new career move and who felt that most materials just went too fast. She wanted a deep, thorough understanding of all the material and didn't have a hard deadline. When I explain the course material, I can explain it briefly, with less detail, or I can explain it thoroughly, with more details. Which do you prefer? If you had to choose between fast and thorough, which would you choose? Note that your selection will influence which lessons will be added to your path as this course is presented to you.